Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, Shady with Shady Creations Co. And today I am going to teach you how to make a basic tumbler. Please remember to subscribe and to follow my Facebook, Shady with Shady Creations Co. This tumbler is very easy to create and very good for beginners. So right now I am just sanding down my cup. I went ahead and washed it before I started sanding. You want to make sure that you are prepping your cup properly. So I'm going ahead and sanding it down really good and just getting that thin layer off of there. Just sanding it really good right here. And there's just no way I just do this pretty much. I'm just kind of going in a circular motion. And right here I am picking up my 91% alcohol, and I do have a coffee filter that I'm going to use for this. So I just go ahead and spray down my cup with the alcohol, and I'm going to take the coffee filter to remove all of the debris that's left from me sanding on the cup. So now I am going to finish prepping the cup, and I am going to be spray painting it with the colors that I'm going to be using, just so when I lay the glitter it will look similar and it will kind of blend in. You do have to excuse my setup. I do live in a townhome, so I am on my balcony, and this is my little setup. It actually works really good for myself. So basically what I did is I did try to shake the paint up before I came out here. It is really cold right now, so you do have to excuse me. You're gonna see a part where it's kind of smudge because the paint wasn't shaken good. So like I said, I do apologize, but I did get it as good as I can. It doesn't have to be perfect because the glitter is going to lay down on it. And you're also going to see a part where my bottom piece of my stand is going to fall. Excuse that part. I do apologize. Okay, so right here I did mix up my epoxy part A and part B, and I do use KS resin epoxy. I will have the link below. And I am using some glitter from Glitter Diller, and also my gold glitter is just a customized mix that I made from some different glitters that I mixed together. So I do have some little tools that I am going to be using. And with this first coat of epoxy, you want to make sure that it is a thin layer of epoxy, just enough for the glitter to adhere. And this is called the epoxy method, and it is from Literally and Rose. That's where I learned this method from, and I feel like this is the most effective way to apply glitter because I've just learned that it's going to take the least amount of glitter as well as the least amount of time, because you're going to have to sit there if you use adhesive, and you're going to have to spray it and then go ahead and epoxy over it. With this, it does take a little bit more time, but it's well worth it, just because you only have to do one layer of glitter each way. So with this, as you can see, I'm just using my tool to go ahead and spread out the epoxy on there. Literally, you want to use about like 2 mLs to 5 mLs of epoxy for the whole cup. And 5 mLs actually might be way too much. So I'm just using that to spread it around and get it all over the cup and make sure that I'm not missing any spots. So now I'm just using my gloved hand to go ahead and spread out the epoxy, make sure that it is even. You don't want any lumps in it or any bumps in it, because the glitter that I'm going to be using is going to be a thin layer of glitter, so you just don't want it to show through. I know I'm going to have some chunky glitter and some fine glitter on the top, so I'm really just worried about that top part, making sure that it is laid really good. So now I'm going to take my chunky glitter. I always start at the bottom. I don't really think that it really matters, but I always start at the bottom and work my way up. So now I'm going to just take my chunky glitter, and since it is like a custom mix that I just went ahead and mixed up, I do have it in a little cup, but usually I'll have it in my little containers. But so I'm just going to take this and spread it throughout the cup. I usually start from the bottom and work my way up, and as I get higher, I'll start lifting up the cup a little bit more so that when it hits the cup, it'll spread out a little bit more. So now I'm just going to take the spoon that I have, and I am going to take just a little bit and do the bottom. And it's very easy how I do the bottom. I just usually scoop it and just kind of throw it on there. The only reason why I do it this way is because I have a hard time taking my cup off the turner and taking a PVC pipe screws off to be able to just kind of put the glitter on the paper and smash it on the bottom of the cup. So I found this way to be very easy. Once the color is on there and you have all the glitter on there, you want to make sure that you kind of pat it so all the excess glitter can go ahead and fall off of the cup, and you won't have it blending with your new glitter that you're going to be putting on the top of the cup. With the new glitter, I'm going to start on the top and work my way down so that I can blend it a little bit better. And there's really no particular way that I'm applying this. I'm just kind of going in a little motion to go ahead and apply this. I am leaving a little space in between so that I'll be able to blend it a little bit better. I usually take my top color and I go over the bottom color so that it will blend in. And if I missed any spaces from the chunky glitter, it will blend with the fine glitter. Now I just take my gloved hand and I pat down that chunky glitter to make sure that no pieces are sticking up. You want to make sure that you can get it laid as flat as possible. So in the long run, it will definitely help you, especially with time and sanding towards the end. So I let that spin for about 6 hours to dry. It's not completely dry. It's not going to be, cured or anything, but that's fine to go on to the next step. So with the next step, now I'm going to go ahead and apply a coat of epoxy over the glitter. And basically what I do is I use that same tool and I'm just going to work my way from the bottom and go up. As you can see, I do have a lot of epoxy in the cup. I am going to be working on a few different cups. So that's the reason why I have about 100 mLs of epoxy in the cup. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little silicone brush and I kind of just go in a motion to go down. I don't want to go up because I do have a fine glitter on the top, so I just kind of work one glitter at a time in a sense. And I do apologize. My son, he is in the background of this video. Sometimes he does come into my crafting room. So I just wanted to make sure that my gloved finger did not have any more of that gold on there before I moved on to the next step. As you can see, I did have a little smudge of the gold on the white part. And I am going to go ahead and correct that as we go on. So what I'm doing right here is I'm just going to apply a little bit more of the white over that smudge so that it can kind of blend a little bit better. And now what I'm going to do is work on the top part of the cup. So I'm going to go ahead and work on the white. So as you can see, I went ahead and cleaned my brush to go ahead and apply the epoxy to the other half of the cup. And it's going to be the same motion that I did on the bottom half. So I'm just putting a little bit of epoxy and kind of spreading it all around. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my glove finger to kind of blend it all in together. So now I'm just kind of using my glove finger to go ahead and blend it all in together. I did not seal this cup, so that's the reason why I am doing it kind of in a two-step process with applying the epoxy. You can use some clear spray paint to go ahead and seal it so you won't have to worry about it kind of blending together. So I am going to go ahead and cut the video a little bit short, as you guys can see this process of it. But the next process that I did, and I'm going to cut it out of the video, is I went ahead and used my heat gun to blow all the bubbles out. Put a little bit of heat on it and make sure that all your bubbles are gone. I usually put the heat on for about 2 minutes on each cup to make sure. And you do not want to leave your heat gun in the same place on the cup because epoxy will burn. So you want to make sure that you are moving it around in a motion and not directly on the cup. So now that my cup is completely dry and it's been about 24 hours since I applied that other coat of epoxy, what I'm going to go ahead and do is apply my decals onto the cup. Now my cup is fairly smooth, as you can see the materials that you're going to be needing. So I do have an inkjet printer, and also this is clear water slide paper, and you would need a clear acrylic paint. I do apologize. I mean clear spray paint. Sorry. My mind's everywhere. So what I went ahead and did is I printed them out on the paper, and I went ahead and sprayed it 2 times, let it dry, make sure that it was completely dry. I like to get matte clear because it does dry a little bit faster. So now what I'm doing is going ahead and cutting out the decals so that I can place them on the cup. And it's very easy to apply these decals. As you guys are going to see, it's very easy for these. And where I found these decals were on Etsy. I went ahead and bought the decals off of Etsy, and I'll link the place where I found them at on Etsy in the description. So as you can see, I went ahead and applied the water to the cup, as well as I placed the decal into the warm water. You don't want your water to be too hot, and you do not want it to be too cold. It typically takes about 60 seconds for it to start to lift. So you want to just kind of make sure, and you see I'm doing a little test right here to make sure that it is going to lift off of the paper, and it looks like it did lift pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and apply. You want to make sure that your cup is wet because you're going to need to slide it off of the backing, as well as place it wherever you would like on the cup, and make sure that it is straight. So I'm just holding one side of the paper while I slip the back off of it, as you can see. Now I'm just placing it where I want it to go and making sure that it is straight. So now what I'm using is my silicone brush to make sure that I am getting all the water out from the back of the cup. As you remember, what I just said is you have to apply water to move the decal around. So I'm just making sure that all that water is away from the backing of the cup. Now I'm just going to pat it down with a little bit of toilet paper. I usually use a paper towel, but I was out of paper towels. So I'm just using toilet paper, which works perfectly fine. Now I do want to show you, this is how I kind of get it even. I kind of make sure that my cup is even for the other side. If you're going to be placing 2 decals on each side of the cup, you want them to be even. So I usually take my fingers and kind of wing it. And I'm just doing the same exact thing that I just did on the other side to this side. So I'm wetting the cup, I place the decal into the water and I'm just letting it sit for about 60 seconds or so. Same exact motion. I am just holding it with one side and kind of pulling from the other side. So right here, I'm just making sure that the decals are even on each side. And I do apologize. My son, he did have his camera that he got for Christmas in the background, so he was playing with it. That's why you see some flashes going on. So now I'm going to place the vinyl name that I have. And I realized after this video was actually made that I forgot to weed out some of her name. So as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and place it. Like the A and the E are not weeded. So I do apologize. I did go back and weed them out. I do save my transfer tape because it can be used multiple times and it really does save a lot of money with your business. So I did go ahead and get up to go get my weeding tool so that I can go ahead and finish weeding her name. I'm not sure exactly how I forgot to do that, but that's fine. So yes, I went ahead and weeded it out. So basically, after this step, you're going to make sure that your water slides are completely dry. I usually wait a few hours before I go ahead and apply the next layer of epoxy, but you want to go ahead and make sure that it is dry, and then you're going to go ahead and apply your next layer of epoxy, and you're going to need probably about 2 more coats of epoxy so that your cup can be fully smooth. And you want to go ahead and apply the epoxy as well as use your heating tool to make sure that the bubbles are out of the cup as well. So I do apologize, my lamp did go off right here, but that's fine. So then I'm going to go ahead and show you in a minute the final results. So here's the final result of the cup, and it did take another 2 layers of epoxy to go ahead and complete it. I hope that you guys really did enjoy this video. I really do enjoy doing these videos for you guys. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to write a comment. I do try to reply to all comments on my page. I really do appreciate them. And please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Facebook. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys have a wonderful day and good luck and best luck to you guys and your crafting companies.